Greetings! Welcome to Saint of the Week, the show where we choose one saint's feast day from this week and discuss their life and their impact on the church. The saint for this week is St. John Fisher, whose feast day is June 22nd, this Friday.
John was born on October 19th, 1469 in Beverley, England. His parents were modestly prosperous, allowing him to attend the University of Cambridge in 1484. He earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1487 and a Master of Arts degree 4 years later. In the same year, 1491, John received a papal dispensation to enter the priesthood, even though he was below the canonical age, and he was ordained on December 17th.
Having been appointed Vicar of North Allerton, John resigned from that position in 1494 to become proctor of the university. 3 years later, he became master debater and then chaplain and confessor to Margaret Beaufort, mother of King Henry VII. On July 5, 1501, he became a doctor of sacred theology, and just 10 days later, he became vice-chancellor of the university.
In 1504, John was appointed Bishop of Rochester at the personal insistence of Henry VII. Being the poorest diocese in England, Rochester was usually seen as simply a stepping stone on the way to an ecclesiastical career. But John remained there for the rest of his life. He remained very involved with the University of Cambridge, introducing Latin, Greek, and Hebrew into the curriculum, and even convincing the world-famous Erasmus to visit and teach. During this time, John also tutored Prince Henry, the future King Henry VIII.
John spoke out against many abuses that were going on in the church and was a proponent of disciplinary reforms. He was an opponent of Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, and he has been credited, though there is no concrete proof, as the true author of the Defense of the Seven Sacraments, the royal treatise against Luther, which earned King Henry VIII the title Defender of the Faith.
In 1521, the divorce of King Henry from his wife, Catherine of Aragon, came into question, and John quickly became the Queen's chief supporter. This was neither the first nor the last of his clashes with King Henry, who, in 1529, began encroaching on the Church's rights. The next year, John, along with John Clerk and Nicholas West, 2 other bishops, appealed to the Holy See. Henry immediately issued an edict forbidding such appeals, and the 3 men were promptly arrested.
Their imprisonment did not last very long, however, for in February 1531, the Convocation of Canterbury and York met, and John was present. Here the clergy was forced to recognize King Henry as the supreme head of the church in England, but the clause, "so far as God's law permits," was added through John's efforts.
John continued to preach against Henry's divorce from Catherine, but Henry still married Anne Boleyn, and Parliament passed the First Succession Act, which ordered everyone to either take an oath declaring Henry and Anne as the true heirs of the throne, or be guilty of treason. John naturally refused to take the oath, so he was imprisoned in the Tower of London on April 26, 1534.
John remained in prison for over a year, during which he was treated harshly and not allowed to see a priest for any of the sacraments. In May of 1535, the newly elected Pope Paul III ordained John a cardinal, hoping to convince King Henry to ease John's treatment, but the effect was the exact opposite. Henry was infuriated and would not allow the cardinal's hat to be brought to England, declaring that he would send the head to Rome instead.
John went on trial for treason in June, denying once again that Henry was the supreme head of the church in England. He was found guilty and sentenced to be hanged, drawn, and quartered. But the sentence was changed to beheading. Half an hour before he was to die, John opened his Bible and read the words, "Eternal life is this, to know you, the only true God, and him whom you have sent, Jesus Christ. I have given you glory on earth by finishing the work you gave to me. Do you know, Father, give me glory at your side." Then he closed the book and remarked, "There is enough learning in that to last me the rest of my life."
John was executed on Tower Hill on June 22, 1535, when he was 65 years old. His body was stripped and left to lie all day on the scaffold, while his head was hung on the London Bridge. He was finally given a proper burial a fortnight later, laid next to the grave of his fellow martyr, Sir Thomas More. He is the patron saint of the Diocese of Rochester.
John Fisher was a man of both great knowledge and immense courage, standing up to an oppressive king, even though it cost him his life. A talented scholar and a humble priest, he was undeniably stern and austere, but his deep love for his faith is what he will always be remembered for.
St. John Fisher, pray for us. Our honorable mentions for this week are St. Emily de Violar, St. Gregory Barbarigo, St. Juliana Falconieri, St. Eusebius of Samosata, St. Nicetus of Remesiana, and St. Thomas Garnet. And of course, there are thousands of other saints who undoubtedly have their feast days this week, but there are so many of them that there is no way we could list them all here.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Saint of the Week. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Peace be to you.